Well, now we have a full-blown video series dedicated to Jasmine, Crockett, and James Talarico. This video is called White People Keep on White Peopling, and your comment is going to be cut off where I reply to it, and I think it's important for people to understand everything that you said, so I'm going to read it to you. Watch DDAW 1960's video about this issue and the fact that a lot of black people say they won't vote since Jasmine didn't win. That's why Democrats keep losing the big contests, because the in-party fighting between two factions of centrists and progressives is going to make us continue to lose over and over again. Radical divisions within a specific party, regardless of which side it's on, is what makes people sit out elections. We can't afford to do that. I think both candidates are highly qualified, but at this point we have to mobilize behind the candidate who won the primary and stop all the pearl clutching. Once we get control of the Congress again and the Senate, then we can make the changes that need to be made, but all the infighting gets us absolutely nowhere. I thought this comment was a good representation of the kind of comments that I'm getting on this video series. The first thing we're going to discuss about this comment is mansplaining, because this is what it looks like. The amount of dismissiveness that is packed into that comment is exactly why all white people are the problem until we all decolonize our thinking. Until we do the work, we are not safe. We are not safe and we are not trustworthy. Second point. In none of these videos have I ever once raised the issue of infighting or people sitting out elections. You, a white man, are placing on me, a white woman, the responsibility of telling black voters to simply get over an election. Do you not understand how this is history repeating itself? Especially when all anyone has to do is scroll through these comments to see white people openly admitting that race played a role and then asking everyone else to just move on. This is literally an example of what erasure is, because you suggest to everyone that they should go watch yet another white woman's video who feels justified in preaching to black people about getting over racism. So here's where we are. We are just getting started. We've had white-splaining, we've had erasure, but let's keep going. And then you really did say stop the pearl clutching? Pearl clutching? Are you actually trying to reduce this conversation about racism to pearl clutching? Your inability to bring respect to a conversation about a sitting member of Congress, a qualified, experienced, proven black woman, shows exactly how normalized this dismissal is. Jasmine Crockett has demonstrated that she is capable, passionate, and prepared to do her job unapologetically. And yet here we are watching white commenters reduce the conversation about racism to pearl clutching. So now, misogyny has entered the chat because you are painting with a very large brushstroke over my original videos to imply that all of this is about pearl clutching. You silly, silly women. Don't you have anything better to do, like go bake something or clean something or some dirty diapers somewhere to change? You don't need to worry about any of this. Oh, I don't know. I think that racism and systems of oppression are pretty serious things to worry about. Now, I'm basically done with this ridiculous comment, and I'm going to address this to every white person who continues to leave comments like this. I would never invoke the memory of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. unless I believed I was standing on solid ground. But I'm not doing this to prove how woke I am. I am doing it for the call-in he issued to white people in his letters from Birmingham jail. Do you know who Dr. King was referencing when he said he was disappointed in the most? It certainly wasn't the white sheep men. It was the white moderate person, the white moderate who preferred order over justice, the white moderate who preferred what he called a negative peace, the absence of tension over a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. He wrote about the appalling silence of good people. Now listen to this one. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. warned about the myth of time, the belief that justice should wait for a more convenient season. And he also criticized white clergy who agreed with the goals of the movement, but condemned the methods because they made people uncomfortable. In other words, the very people telling everyone to calm down and stop making things messy, the very people saying, I see your point, but what's done is done, so let's move on. Let me say this clearly to my fellow white people. What you are really saying in these comments is this. Yes, racism exists, but the world isn't ready for Jasmine Crockett. When you say that, what you're actually admitting is this. You are not willing to do the work required to dismantle the racism that makes that statement true. You want to pass. You want to call that realism. But what is it really? It's apathy because of our privilege. The lack of progress in Texas does not belong to black voters. It belongs to white voters, and we know this because racism is not an accident in American history. It was taught, it was reinforced, and it was baptized in church language and absorbed in school systems. It is woven into the very institutions that shaped us, and it is what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was warning about. He literally was warning about us. So when you say Democrats will lose because of infighting, let's correct that. Democrats will lose because racism still dictates who white voters feel comfortable empowering. And too many white women who are cosplaying, supporting equity, and are still weaponizing the dog whistles our Christian patriarchal indoctrination taught us to use when white Christian men fear losing power. It happened in real time in Texas, and you still don't want to face it. Jasmine Crockett's supporters are not the reason Democrats lose elections. Racism is. Nothing changes until we face that. Until we do face it, the pattern will repeat. Black leaders will continue to write letters like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King explaining how disappointing white moderates are. And black women will continue to be expected to do the labor of saving democracy while being denied the authority to lead it. The white people continue to promise, do it our way. We promise someday it'll be better. Same pattern, different generation. Every time white people rush into the comments to defend the system instead of interrogating it, you prove the point all over again.